Yo, let's go and welcome to the video. I'm going to show you how I killed every boss in ZG the other day as a Moonkin. I started off going to High Priestess Wotlk, the bat boss, first. This boss really isn't that bad, at least in phase 1. It can get a little tricky in phase 2. Throughout the fight, she can fear, she can put up a curse that increases your melee damage taken, silence for like 9 seconds. The biggest thing to watch out for is the heal. She doesn't start casting it until about 20% HP, and you'll have to deal with at least one pack of bats that comes down about a minute into the fight. Once the bats are gone, the boss is at 20%, that heal can come out. I failed kicking the first one, but the way a Boomy can interrupt the heal is by switching into cat form, using Rake, and then following that up with Maim. So as long as you switch, as soon as you see the cast starting into cat, get the rip Maim off, you'll be able to interrupt the heal and stop the boss from getting back to like 50% HP. So kick the heal, avoid the fire, because the fire actually hurts a little bit, and this boss will go down no problem. One of the easiest bosses in here is High Priest Venoxus, the snake boss. Precast some hots, and blow every cooldown that you can in the opener. Starfall, Treants, Hyperspeed, Barkskin, use it all, and this boss will be dead in under 30 seconds. Then you can move right on over to High Priestess Marley, the spider boss. This is another pretty easy boss, as long as you're killing the little ads that come out throughout the fight. You can cleanse the poisons off of yourself. They don't really do too much damage. She does a drain life that you can switch to cat form, use Rake and Maim to kick. I just let her heal up, not that big of a deal. So just occasionally get your heals up on yourself, pop your Starfall on cooldown, and you'll squash the spider boss in no time. Now on to Bloodlord Mandokir, the Raptor boss, which is one of the longer ones. I made a video in phase 1 of how you can cheese this boss if you're trying to solo it for the mount, where you pull the boss and you get the Raptor to fall through the map, but sometimes you can also fall through the map. It's this whole cheesy mess. So for this, I didn't do any cheese. I burst the Raptor down as quick as I could, and then I kited the boss for a minute to let the enrage buff fall all the way off. Once the boss wasn't enraged anymore, it's a pretty easy fight. You'll get feared sometimes. The mortal strike the boss does hurts pretty hard, but between travel form to create some distance or moving away while the boss is casting anything, it's not too hard to keep some hots up on yourself. Cast a nourish every now and then, and eventually after a lot of kiting, you can get this boss down. Use Innervate as soon as you can, and also have a mana pot on your bar somewhere just in case, because mana can get kinda tight. I have yet to see this mount drop, so I wish you better luck than I've had. The other mount boss is up next, the tiger boss, High Priest Feckle. I had also made a video on how to cheese this boss by skipping the first phase and not having to kill these extra ads. But now in phase 2, I've just been killing everything in phase 1. The 3 mobs have to go down together within 12 seconds of each other, which can be a little bit tricky since one of them heals. You can also get kicked on casts, which makes it a little tricky. You can be silenced. The way that I handle the heals is with Typhoon if I'm not silenced, or War Stomp if I am silenced. It's a long cast like the first boss, so if needed, you could switch to cat form, Rake, and Maim to interrupt the heal. So there's a bit of RNG involved in this one, more so than the other bosses. As long as you get through phase 1, phase 2 is cake. You can use the tree stump to kite the boss if needed. I didn't need to here. I just kept up the hots and burned them down. The next boss is another face roll fight, and that's the Panther boss, High Priestess Arloc. So just like the snake boss earlier, pop every cooldown you have at the start of the fight. Starfall, Treants, Wrath to get a Lunar, Barkskin, pop your Hyperspeed, and Starfire through your Lunar phase. You should get the boss pretty low, and then it's going to vanish for about a minute, and you'll just have to deal with little tiny ads. And once the boss comes back out, you can easily finish her off. The next to last boss is Jindo the Hexer. This fight isn't too hard, but it is a bit tricky, and it can get a bit frustrating as well, because throughout the fight, the boss will drop a mind control totem, which can allow the boss to fully heal back up if you don't re-enter combat quick enough once the mind control falls off. What I like to try to do is melee the boss as soon as that mind control drops, and hope that the boss doesn't heal up at all. Sometimes the boss will heal up 10, 15, 20%. Other times it's full HP, and combat doesn't drop, and the boss doesn't reset. So the big thing here is keeping an eye on your mana bar. Pop that Innervate as soon as you can, have that mana pot on your bar, and also do not use your Treants because they will kill you while you're mind controlled. Since I have the 4-piece tier 8, which can proc an instant starfire from each insect swarm tick. Try to keep insect swarm up on the boss and also those ads that you can see while you are cursed. And then if I'm quick enough, as soon as that mind control totem is dropped, I can target it, send an instant starfire, and not have to worry about the boss healing up. With a little bit of luck of the boss not healing too much while you're mind controlled, you should be able to get this boss down, be able to move on to Hakar. And here they are in all of their serpenty glory. The trash leading up to the boss is actually a little bit harder than the boss itself. Like a lot of the other bosses in here, you can pop all your cooldowns, including Force of Nature, at the start of the fight. Although, about 30 seconds into the fight, if there's something other than you on the aggro table, Hakar can mind control you. But for this, my treants didn't really hit me. But really, you don't have to pop the treants. And since you're the only one in the fight, the Blood Siphon mechanic isn't really healing the boss for too much, so you don't have to worry about pulling up an ad, killing it, getting the poison debuff on you. But that's always an option. If you ever find yourself in trouble, you can always hop off the platform and the boss will reset, you'll drop combat, and you can try again. You shouldn't have to do that as long as you're keeping up your hots. Hakar doesn't really hit very hard. Did you think the video was over? Oh no, there's another boss. Got my mud skunk lore, my 5 mud skunks. It's time to summon Gaza Ranka. While you watch me absolutely destroy this boss, I wanted to say a couple of reasons why you should go out and try to solo this classic 20-man raid yourself. Each boss drops about 20 to 25 raw gold, a couple pieces of loot that you can vendor for even more gold. And if you're after any achievements, you can get the achievement for finishing the raid. You can get exalted with the Zandalar tribe, sell the bijous on the auction house for a couple gold each, have a chance at 2 rare mounts, and even mage polymorph tome from this boss. That's on the auction house right now for 200 gold on Mankrik. There is one more optional boss, but I'm not doing that one. I'm going to end it here. Thanks for watching. If you haven't seen my full clear of AQ20, it should be up on the screen now.